This is men's relationship wisdom, and the topic of today's video is simps are the enemy. To define terms, simps is really that men give value and then they don't get reciprocated.
Okay.
So why is it that, I mean, that sounds pretty good, right?
For women.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds pretty good, but there is actually a ripple effect that happens to women. And then you can look at it as kids. So like say when kids get spoiled, they give everything that they want. Is really they don't deserve and they don't act according to what is required for them to get the things that
They
they
become
want.
entitled. So they
That's
think
right.
they're just deserving of certain rewards, treatments, benefits, things like that,
Yeah,
as opposed to actually learning how to achieve and get those things.
exactly. So what happens is in different generations, some we go through these patterns and people know it, but they never think they're in the patterns.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. So like say you parents had a tough childhood, they never got what they wanted, they craved. So they become successful in creating the things that they want. And what happens is they want to create a better life for their kids. And what they think a better life is to give them the things that they wanted when they were young. But the reason that you wanted them is because you didn't have them. And when you give them to your kids, they don't appreciate it because they don't know what it feels not to have them.
Right. And they don't know what it took for
Right.
you to be able to afford to give those things to them.
So the reason that, like, say boomers are real successful is because they didn't get what they wanted. So they want to give a better opportunity or a better life to their kids, and they give them everything, and sometimes they take it for granted.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to let people learn on their own. So I always say that they learn through two things, either through wisdom or through pain. And most people don't get off their ass until they're enough pain. So, because we're inclined to survive, not to thrive.
Right.
And I really do believe that a lot of people don't act until it's necessary to act. Why would you act when it's not necessary if you're getting what you want?
Right.
Why
Like,
overpay
why
more?
fix the roof when you're not sure when it's going to rain type thing? I think a lot of people have that mentality.
Well, so why fix the roof if it's not leaking?
Exactly. Or why check the roof?
Well,
But
that's
if you have a
wisdom.
leak.
Wisdom is to check the roof to see if it's leaking before
right.
it leaks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
how many
yeah.
actually people do that? No, they
No,
just
no.
wait until it leaks and then they fix it. So
But by then,
sometimes
sometimes the damage is done.
that's why I believe wisdom is prevention. It's looking ahead to see the probable problems that are coming, that could arise, or the unseen problems, and taking care of that before they come. It's like kind of like taking your vitamins and you never get any diseases. How can you appreciate the diseases that you don't have if you're not aware of them? So that's hard to
Really
value,
yeah,
to appreciate until you see somebody that's sick. You're like, I don't want to do that. Then you take the preventative measure and you're like grateful that you don't have something, but you did see it though. So it's like, how can you prevent something that you didn't see in the first place?
Right.
So it's hard to appreciate those things. So what happens is that Sims, we have a competition of being at the top. So in life, it's really one big game of being superior. So there's different types of measuring superiority in different aspects. So if you take the hierarchy, let's say it's a pyramid, and you have different levels. So this is the alpha, right? And then this is the beta, and then there's delta, beta, and all that other stuff, right? So the betas complain about the alphas, but the betas desire to be the alpha state. The alpha doesn't complain about anything because they're on the top. It's people that want to get to the top, that want to make it fairer to get to the top or whatever. But what happens is that they're always in competition.
Sure.
So the beta sometimes get together to take out the alpha, but then they're in a hurry to fill in that place. That even happens in nature with monkeys and gorillas and all that other stuff.
Sure.
Even with dogs. So if there's alpha, and then when they get weak, they attack the alpha. Even the betas get together to kill the alpha, and then they fight within themselves to become the alpha.
Yep.
So that's what they're doing. So the alpha, let me give you an example. If you're an alpha and you get a lot of girls, you get more than one. The betas don't like that you get more than one girls. So the theory is that betas created this thing called monogamy so that they can get 1-to-1. So that everybody gets a girl.
Yeah.
Because the alphas will give more than one girls, and the girls are actually willing to share the alpha. So the theory was this monogamy was created by the beta or the other low levels of men so that they can have a chance to get some girls. Because most girls, this is what they girls are really famous for saying one thing and doing another.
Mhm.
What they really say is they don't want to share a man.
Mhm.
They just want the man to be with them.
Mhm.
Okay, so they say they wouldn't share a man, but
Their
they will
actions.
share.
Mhm.
So they say they don't want to, but they do share
Right.
a man.
Mhm.
So if you ever hear those the guys ask them, would you rather be the mistress of a king or the wife of a peasant? And they always say I'm mistress of a king. So see, they'll share. They just don't admit to it because they don't want to give permission to the king. What they really want is the king and the king not to have any other girls.
Right.
So that's why the girls promote this monogamy also, because all girls think they can get the king. They're
Yeah.
very conceited. They're very
Well, they self-promote a lot
they
more than they
self-promote.
actually
All
are
girls
worth.
think they can beat all other girls, and they think they can get a high value man or a king.
Mhm.
And they believe they can get this guy devoted just to her, like Prince Charming.
Mhm.
Fantasy sounds familiar, right?
Right.
So the girls can believe they can beat all the other girls and get that one guy, and that one guy is going to be just for her. That's what they all believe. So, and it doesn't happen. So they know that's what they're shooting for, but what they know is they'd rather share the alpha
Mm.
than be with a loser. So that's what was created. So what happens is that the betas get together to take out the alpha, and the girls use the betas to get power themselves.
Mhm.
So how do they use power to get them? So what they girls want to do is now they're competing with alphas for power, not necessarily to get
Yeah.
to this one. So what girls are really after is a better life or better situation through the alpha. But now girls want to replace the alpha.
Mhm.
Their hence that's why they want to be in charge.
Mhm.
So it's not like they wanted to be with alpha. That was just the best position to be in.
Mhm.
Now what they want to do is they want to be the alpha.
Right.
So girls, you see like the movies, the girls saving the guys. See, that's them wanting to be the powerful ones.
Yeah.
In other words, the girls want to be the men,
Mhm.
kind of deal. So that's what they're, but it's not natural. That's why, like Marvel stories and this, it's like the dominant, the girls on top of better than the men, or they help that. If you're seeing that, that's what they're
That's a
wanting
trend.
promoting. It's not. It's not. Girls don't really want to do the work. They just want to be part of it. But they would like the idea of being the top, but it
They
takes
don't
a lot
actually
of
want to
work.
put in for yes.
So the betas, what they're saying, they talk shit about the alphas, but secretly they want to be the alphas.
Mm.
So this is what they call mimetic desire, so forth and so on. And that's what they're doing. So they do this even like say Gandhi when he was fighting for the Indians from freedom from Britain.
Mhm.
So there was the Brits were the top, and then there was the Indians, and the Indian from India, they had different hierarchies. Okay, this is where hypergamy came to date up, where women date up to another guy that's above their level. So that's part of where the hypergamy comes in to marry up. So what Gandhi wanted to do is wanted to take out British slavery and wanted to move India. So when India progressed in getting rid of that,
Mhm.
India, what they did is made another level,
They made their own
or they
hierarchy.
went. They still had a hierarchy, and some of them they call the untouchables and so forth. So yes, they got rid of this, but they didn't get rid of the hierarchy pyramid. So he did fight, but it's kind of like they're the betas, and now part of the alphas, and then they made more groups. So
Mhm.
they're still fighting for that.
Mhm.
So the Simps is really a person that doesn't want to cooperate with the whole pyramid. So, in other words, betas want to be the alphas.
Mhm.
They pretend to respect them, but as soon as they had a chance, they'll betray them because they want the position. So that's why I say it's a game of being superior.
Right.
That's what we're really doing, even in the animal kingdom. Even just organisms themselves, like a mosquito will go over there. They don't care if they infect you with a disease. They want to get your blood and they want to create progression for their species. So it's the same thing with us, but we're the alpha species of all the species, and that's why we kill animals and eat them because we can. That's where the whoever has the might has the right saying comes from. So the Simps is really instead of working together to create a better society, we're competing, but it's like a friendly competition now. Now it's not as violent.
It's like a more
Before there was
socially
violence,
acceptable competition.
right? So it's kind of like if you're playing chess, you're not really violent. You're under these parameters, these rules, because it's better to synergize. Because if we start killing each other, it's actually regressive.
Right.
Because a lot of people have utility. So like what the betas, if they have utility, if they're not reproducing, the girls want to reproduce with the best genetics, the alphas. And that would produce, in theory, the best offspring. If the girls just reproduce with the alphas, and the betas do the hard work of making society progress. So this is where it gets kind of controversial. Farmers, when they have produce and stuff, they select like the alpha fruit, the
Sure.
biggest ones. So,
The
so let me
prettiest ones, the
like
sweetest
pumpkins.
ones.
Let me take an example. Pumpkins.
Alright.
So pumpkins, the farmer plants the seeds, and then out of all the plants, they produce the fruit, the best looking fruit, the biggest fruit. He reserves those and gets the seeds off of the fruit that's the best, the alpha fruit, the alpha. And then he plants those. See, so the rest of the fruit doesn't get a chance to reproduce. It actually accelerates the production of the more favorable fruit. So it's actually a lot faster. So when cow herders are reproduce animals, they select the alphas, impregnates all the women, and the betas don't. So that the generations of genetic improvement is faster.
Right.
So we do this with animals, dogs, breedings, whatever. We breed them
We do
to
with
according
fruit.
to what we value, and we do that with cattle, and we do that with fruits. So society by themselves, women are doing that by
Naturally.
themselves
Yeah.
naturally. They want to reproduce with this one. So what the girls do is they try to get the best they can. They get the seed from the alpha, and they get the betas to raise them. And that's really what nature is. So you're not going to stop it. So you can be an alpha in all kinds of things. You can be the alpha nerd if you want.
Sure.
You can be the alpha in sports. You can be the alpha in chess. You can be the alpha in different hierarchies of different games. But that's really what it is. But what happens is when the group takes out the alpha is an alpha for a reason. They're very productive. That's why they're the alpha.
Right.
The alpha nerd, the best nerd, all the beta nerds want to take out the alpha nerd because he gets all the bitches. And what's really the betas, they want girls. So the betas will really betray the alpha for the girls.
Yeah.
So if you have a dynamic where the men get together, they become very powerful in producing synergy for society. But since they're always competing for women and women are always competing for alphas, and they trick the betas into taking out the alphas and this and that, we are constantly in a power struggle and a superiority struggle. That's where status comes from. So when Simps are the enemy, is really taking out the best qualified to
To progress.
progress. So it's
Produce
really
the
kind
most.
of like the small pumpkins are getting together and destroying the big pumpkin, and the big pumpkin doesn't get to reproduce better offspring. But eventually, the best out of the betas become the alpha, and it's a reoccurring pattern,
It's cyclical.
right? So that's what they do. So the Simps, a long story short, is what they want to do is get the girls, and they believe that the best strategy to get the girl is to give her what she wants. And what they do is this is where the white knight, the friend zone guy, those are all types of those are different types of simps. They give more value and they don't charge for it, and the girls don't reciprocate, and it spoils the women. And when they give them what they want in order so they can have mating opportunity with the women, it ruins the women and makes them entitled. That's why women are allergic to accountability, responsibility, and it's anti-productive as a whole for the community.
Right.
So think about if women were more accountable, more responsible, probably wouldn't have child support. We probably wouldn't have as much divorces. We wouldn't have all these things, these programs to help women.
And to
because
force men to stay in certain situations that they probably shouldn't be in.
so men are the leaders, and what happens is if they make life easy for women, they spoil women, they become entitled, and then that trickles down, and then they become entitled, and then they raise kids that they don't know how to raise them because they spoil that. So it's like women are like everybody gets a trophy. See what kind of population? It avoids the hierarchy. It avoids from men becoming alphas and being leaders. And when an alpha is not a bad thing, it's not like they're superior. They're just better at doing things better. And what happens is the alpha is not going to live forever. they pass down what they learn to the next generation and they build upon that. So what they're doing is they progress and they pass on the baton. So the biggest progressions that we have are created by the top of the top, which are the alphas. So like say Steve Jobs was like the alpha nerd that created the iPhone. Look how much more beneficial it is having the phone. So there's like the alpha that created, I don't know, fire. So
Yeah.
it's like, say, you know, you control fire, or the nerd or the alpha nerd created this new invention that we're all doing. So if you let the alphas progress and what they need to progress in, it speeds up the progress. So now there's an alpha that is hard to get rid of. And the one that they're having hard time to control is this alpha is what they're calling AI. So this alpha is going to be supposed to be out of control, but if whoever has the alpha in their corner is going to win. That's why it's a race for AI. So if a different country has a better AI than say our country, then they're going to get ahead. So if we don't accelerate that, then somebody else will have the power. See, so now it's a race for being superior. It's a race to having power. So we're on a constant race of being alpha all the time. And what happens is that the betas join together to get rid of the alpha, but as soon as the alpha's gone, then the betas compete within themselves to become alpha.
Yeah.
So that's the reason that betas, when they don't work together with the alpha and they don't stay at their position, then they don't let them. So what happens is that the alphas sometimes become too powerful. So that's when kings, they're not. That's why the U.S. government is so powerful, because it's a self-corrective government. If they mess up, they self-correct. And a dictatorship or a king, they don't self-correct. They get full of. They become narcissists. They become dictators, and they're never wrong. So nobody can challenge them. And that's what you need: somebody to challenge them, to course
Well, that's
correct them.
ultimately like their downfall.
They're downfall. They become tyrants.
There you go. Yeah.
So they're not really good. There's good kings out there, but they have to be more self-accountable. And if nobody holds accountable, the only one that can hold them accountable is themselves, and that's less unlikely. So that's why they need to be kept in check, but at the same time, given enough room to advance so that we all benefit. So that's why sometimes decentralized is very popular, because you let the people that are good to expand, but at the same time they're kept under control because they don't get too much power. So that's the whole philosophy there. So when you have men that don't let people progress, that's the enemy. And Simps are really giving out value when people don't deserve it, and it spoils them. And then that spoils them, and then that spoils the next generation, and then the next generation doesn't know, and they suffer a lot. And that's why you get this continuation of this
Yeah,
cycle.
because the opportunity to grow and evolve is removed.
That's right.
So if you don't allow a woman to learn from her mistakes and you always come in and save her, how is she going to ever learn to be held accountable?
Right. So if you have haters, then the people that hate on you are the betas in that department. Say they don't want you to progress, like crabs in the buckets. That's what it is. And if you want to do something for society, like say, hey, I want, people to be healthy, and you have something, people don't like you being superior than them. But if they recognize, hey, you're really good at this, I'm going to look up to you, that actually encourages people to do better, and people learn through people's results to become better. And that's a humbling experience. And you really are asking people to get rid of their ego, and their ego is just a projection of their self-value. So a lot of people do not want to admit that they're not as good as they are, but that's actually the freeing state of letting go of the ego. Just admit that you're not good enough, and it's okay. You can get better, and therefore you create that community where you want to improve and you help out each other. But once you surpass somebody that don't like it, that means they become a hater, and that's what it is. And that's why simps are the enemy.
I agree.
So it's a cycle that we're in, but that's just part of the show. I mean, that's what I think.
That's what we think.
That's what we think. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. If you agree with this, you don't disagree with this, or whatever. If you're a hater, then no, you're a simp. Anyway,
I love
but
that.
so
You
it doesn't
agree
matter.
Or you don't disagree.
Yeah.
One option said
That's
two
right.
ways.
So like, share, subscribe, all those good things.
Thank you.